Hi guys, so today I am at home at Gorge River and I'm staying with Mum and Dad. So I thought while I'm here I'll take the opportunity to do a questions and answers session with Mum and Dad. So this video is questions with Dad, and then I'm also going to do questions with Mum in the next video. So if you want to see that, check that video out. So here goes, over to Dad.
I first came here in 1980, so this is my 38th year living here. Catherine, she arrived and lived here permanently since about 1990. This is our permanent home, and I'd like to live here as long as I can. I've got no plans to move away, unless I had to move away. If you had a medical condition where you couldn't function around here, like you notice sometimes there's just so many things you have to fix up all the time, like the water and getting firewood and that sort of thing. When things break down, if you weren't capable of keeping everything going, your standard of living would actually drop. We don't walk in and out as much as we used to, so we rely on flying, so that makes it easier as you get older. I had a very conventional upbringing, middle class mum and dad. Went through Christian Brothers school. Like, I was deputy captain of the school and best all-round sportsman, so I made a good go of everything, and I went to university doing medicine. In my third year I had almost like an epiphany and decided that the world needed to change, and the only way that I could do anything about that was to change myself. I wanted to live much closer to nature. I wanted nature to be the dominant feature. I didn't want man to be dominating nature. I wanted to be able to live using natural materials and all that sort of thing. Like, I used to go to the museum in Auckland when I was a boy, and I studied Maori culture for New Zealand. So I knew that I could walk off Civvy Street into the wilderness and it was all there because the Maori culture had lived here. When I came here, I had everything in my backpack. I had a piece of canvas that was about 6 feet by 6 feet. I had an old chisel that I'd made. That was the only tool I had. I had food to probably keep me going for about a week or two. Everything else was out here. When I came here, I was looking for somewhere that was away on its own, so that I could do what I wanted to do without people telling me how to live my life. And I wanted to be somewhere that was away from all of the roads and away from all bridges over streams and away from electricity, telegraph lines. This was the perfect place to do it. In the first 10 years I lived here on my own before Catherine came and lived here, I had some incredibly intensive isolation during those times. I remember one period I didn't see anyone or any sign of other people for about 6 weeks in the middle of winter, and I would travel and tramp through this area and travel 70 k's in each direction. No, maybe not 70, but 30 or 40 or 50 k's in each direction, and never see anyone for months on end. I had no backup at all with the outside world. My main backup is prayer. I pray to my guardian angel to look after me. I would have a little lantern here that I could light, and I also used to fly an orange flag, and the fishermen knew when I was home here, because we went down to Milford Sound one time for a big party, and somebody arrived back at the fishing boat with a big fadge full of orange towels from the staff quarters, and we all took an orange flag home, so I started flying an orange flag here on a stick at the river mouth here, so they would know that I was in residence. What I love here is the sense of power and energy that comes off the wilderness and a natural place. Every morning I wake up, I'm living beside the ocean, beside a river mouth, and it's like my best friend is this place, and I'm energized by that. Well, raising a family here is pretty full on and a very responsible adventure, you end up with an incredibly close-knit family because we're 24/7. Some of the times I cherished the most was when my children were about, early teenage. Like if I had a fishing net or something, Christan would build his own fishing net. He wouldn't want to use my one. He'd build his own one, and he'd be doing exactly the same thing. If I was carving jade, he'd be carving jade. If I was doing a painting, he'd have his easel over here and he'd be doing these paintings. And grew to have an incredibly close relationship with the natural world out here. Way closer than me, actually, because I would take them so far and then they would find treasures that I had never found. Like say, looking for crayfish or something like that, or looking for jade. So even though our children are out there travelling the world, we are still very close-knit group of people. Like when our kids were very young, when I couldn't carry them anymore in my backpack, they had to walk for 5 days. It took them 5 days walking to get out to the end of the road, to the end of a dead-end road. Our children have grown up in a unique environment. I pretty much adapted because I had spent a lot of time living here on my own. We got the internet so that we could keep in touch with them, and so Christan would ring us, we'd ring each other every couple of days, so we kept in touch. And then when Robin left, that was probably the biggest event, because then there weren't any children here at all, and Catherine is just the most devoted mother you could ever imagine in the world. So she found it probably a lot harder than me. I still found it difficult, but not. I could tell she was finding it harder than me. We look forward to them coming home when they come home. Well, Robin was home last month. She walked in and stayed for 10 days and walked back out again. And Christan's comes home maybe once or twice a year for a week or two, or sometimes up to a month. He'll often go away travelling for a long time, or his work, say down at Scott Base, will take him away down there for 5 or 6 months at a time. Well, day-to-day life revolves around working and relaxing and taking it all in. We have to make everything work, and I stick to a routine. Like first thing in the morning, one of us takes a turn to get up and light the fire. I make a living by doing commission work for doing paintings. Most of those are commissioned by people who like me to do wilderness paintings for them, or the one in front of me here is a helicopter. And that's great because I'm usually doing paintings of the scenery that is around here. And also I carve jade, so I spend a lot of my time looking for local jade that I can carry back here. These are works that have been asked, they're commissioned works. And that's gold there, that's 24 karat gold, which has come out of either this river or rivers in Otago or Westland. It's all local New Zealand jade. I can work as hard as I want to every day. I don't have to go looking for work. There's all this work there. If it's good weather, I'm usually working out about doing a possum line to trap possums. Catherine, my wife, she sews up the skins. Today I'm planning on doing some sketching on this painting here in front of me. I've got a jade carving to do for a person who is a film producer. He came and produced a film. They came from Paris. I love that because my greatest enjoyment is being creative. I've managed to support 4 people for 25 years from my work and save money as well. I don't make a hell of a lot of money, but I make more money than what we spend. I've got a website nowadays which is robertlongbeansprout.co.nz, and there's also another site called gorgeriver.org. Facebook is Robert Long Beansprout. I have photographs on there of my paintings and some of my carvings. So occasionally I get commissioned through the internet. Well, it can be very quiet at times for seeing people, but you have to realise when you meet people here, it is like often lifelong relationships begin. And we've got friends who live all over the world. On average, every year we'll have 80 to 100 aircraft landings here. Probably over half of those will be people coming to visit us. often very successful people, people who are successful enough to maintain their own aircraft. Well, we try to grow as much food as we can in our garden. We collect shellfish, we catch fish in the river, we go diving for crayfish when the weather's okay. We grow most of our vegetables here. All of our potatoes and pumpkins we managed to grow here this year. We do get supplies brought in, but it's surprising just how often we sit down to a meal and all of it is actually from around here. And I really love being able to maintain a lifestyle like that. In the old days I used to collect sedge grass seed off the local sedge grasses and grind that into flour, which we would mix into breads and porridge and that sort of thing. And also we eat seaweed, we eat bull kelp and caringo, which is found like sea lettuce on the rocks. When my son was born, I virtually was very rich in resources here, but very poor in money. So when we went out to town, it was the complete opposite of being here, because we didn't have a lot of money. And since I've had children, I've been working hard, saving money, so that we can get enough supplies to make sure that when the weather's bad, we've still got food to tide us over until we can go fishing and hunting and that sort of thing again. When we were in town, we'd do a massive shop, which the people in the shop, they couldn't believe how much stuff we would buy, and we would leave most of that in the hangar and just get back home either tramping in or flying in with some of the gear, and then every month or 6 weeks we would get another lot of supplies brought in. Well, we used to get it off the roof and collect it in old 44-gallon drums, but when we had children we actually went through a hell of a lot of water washing nappies, of all things. So eventually we rigged up, thanks to a man called Bruce Kershaw, a dairy farmer. He brought us down 600 metres of black alkathene pipe, and we laid it out to a spring up on the side of the hill where there's a waterfall coming out down a beautiful rocky face. We collect the water there and it flows down into a tank, so we've got water running the whole time. I have had to go out to have a doctor check me a couple of times. One of them was reasonably severe, but apart from that, nothing has really been that important. Ever since we've had children here, we've had an emergency locator beacon, which you can switch on, and a helicopter would normally be here within a couple of hours. When Christan started doing his own thing, going possuming and out in the forest and on his own, we gave him his own locator beacon, and I have a locator beacon.
So thanks, Dad. That's all for today. This is not going to be the last video, however, from Gorge River, so stand by for some more videos about our life here, living as New Zealand's most remote family. I've also asked Mum some questions, so that's in the next video, so check that one out. If you like this video, please like, share, comment and subscribe. That helps me to continue building this channel. We're doing pretty good so far. And otherwise, until next time, cheers for watching.